everyone, it's Sharana from Pay or Wait, and today I'm going to be reviewing The Shy Season 2, Episode 1, Eruptions, okay? So for those of you who don't know how I do my TV show reviews, I basically kind of give a recap of the episode, but also too, I kind of give analysis to my thoughts around certain things that happen to the characters. So if you have not watched tonight's episode, please do not watch this yet, okay? So also too, a quick reminder, I still will be going live at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We could talk about Shazam, The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. If y'all want to talk about the best of enemies or Pet Cemetery, we can talk about that as well. So I will see you all at 8 p.m. So let's go ahead and get into this episode. We know at the end of season 1, Jason had decided that he was going to start his food truck. Jerica had fronted him the money to basically help him purchase the truck and basically get his business afloat. And so we see at the beginning of the episode, Jason is doing good. He's looking happy. He got his little soul food taco truck. Everybody eating the little tacos. Even the boot man decided he was going to boot the truck because the tacos were so good. And so you're like, okay, Jason, like you finally got it all together. I'm happy for you. Until Jason is basically quickly reminded of the environment that he is living in when he comes home basically from a long day's work, but he made a lot of money. He is robbed at gunpoint, and not only do they take the cash that he has made for the day, but they also take his truck. And so this is one of the many instances of throughout the course of this episode and also through the course of the first season where we see these characters are really trying to move forward with their lives and also to just trying to do good to kind of escape the environment that they're in. However, basically factors of living in this environment continue to mess up their plans and basically stunt their growth as individuals. And so we'll go ahead and kind of just flesh out what all happened to Jason. So we see that he's telling Jerica basically what happened, and then she was just like, well, you have insurance on it, so just go ahead and like just file an insurance claim. And we then realized that Jason never got any permits. He never got insurance on the truck. He was trying to make more money to be able to not only pay Jerica back, which she said it really wasn't that big of a deal, but also he just didn't have it to like get the insurance. So he's basically, he just out of luck, okay? He SOL, and it's just not all right. So we see that also, too, she tells him that, okay, well, if you don't have all of this, I'm tired of treating you like a little boy, like I always have to mama you because you just don't do what you're supposed to do. She was like, go file a police report and see if the police can get your truck. And Jason was just like, you know how many killings there were this past weekend? They do not have time to solve those murders, so why would they have time to basically find a food truck? But we see that later through the course of the episode that he is proven wrong, that they actually end up finding his truck, even though they have basically robbed the truck of the food, his mini fridge, and so basically he has to pick up the pieces and rebuild his food truck. So in the course of this, he goes to his mom's house, and I'm happy to see that him and his stepdad are getting along with each other because we know that they had a rocky start in season 1. And so Jason is basically telling him what happened to him as far as being robbed. And we see that his stepdad gives him the gun that he took, Reggie's gun that he has. And so basically he's like, hey, you need protection at this point. So you need to make sure that you're protecting yourself. And so he takes the gun, and then I'm just like, I know nothing good can come from this, but we see that he actually goes to Reggie, Jake's brother, to give the gun back to him, thinking that Reggie had something to do with it. And to be honest with you, I thought Reggie had something to do with it too, because we saw that they basically wanted him to like help them sell drugs or whatever through his food truck, and he told them no. So I thought Reggie basically did that to threaten him, but Reggie was just like, I had nothing to do with that, so I don't even understand what you're talking about at this point. So he's hit another dead end, and he pretty much doesn't know what else to really do. Now, during the course of all of this, I'm trying to make sure I got everything basically for what happened to Jason during the course of the episode. So also, too, he's kind of dealing with, Jerica tells him that Ronnie has decided to take the plea deal, plead guilty to the murder of Coogee, a.k.a. Latrella on my block. So he's kind of having feelings and emotions about that as well. But in the midst of all of this, he decides to try to go and get a job at a restaurant, and he finds this woman, this Nigerian woman who owns her own restaurant. And I really love the conversation that they had amongst one another where she's telling him that, hey, like your dish tastes really good. However, if you want people to know who you are and know your name and talk about your food, you have to have a story. And when I taste this food, I do not have a story as to who you are and what inspires you to cook. And so we never really got to see how Jason was able to pick up cooking, what was like kind of this catalyst that made him realize that he wanted to be a chef. And so he kind of goes through this self-exploration after having this conversation. He doesn't get the job, but he realizes that, you know, him cooking for his brother and all the random things that he would throw together, he realizes that that's his inspiration. That's how he began to love to cook. And so we see that he changes the name of his truck to basically pay homage to his brother, but also to help tell that story of why he is a chef. And so I'm excited to see what happens with Jason. Hopefully he's not involved in too much craziness for this season, but seeing how this first episode turned out, I'm sure that things are not going to be looking up for him very soon. So I think the most logical person to next go into is Ronnie, because Ronnie really has a strong story that is told, the backstory of how Ronnie becomes who he was at the beginning of the first season when we were introduced to his character. So we know that Ronnie is basically in prison because he's decided to atone for his sins, and he went and pleaded guilty and confessed that he shot Coogie. And so we see how he was when he first enters the prison. We kind of see this relationship between him and another cellmate who is basically coming off of drugs, and how he kind of takes him under his wing, kind of mentors him, and kind of basically encourages him to do better while serving his time in prison. And so we kind of are given a flashback into who Ronnie was before he ended up to this point. And we see that Ronnie was a veteran. He was in the war. He came back due to some medical issues that he was having. And so we see how he just has this positive outlook on life. He knows that he wants to be a police officer. And so what I really appreciate about going into Ronnie's storyline is kind of this exploration of how we treat, not only how we treat our veterans, but also too how, you know, they leave to go serve our country and to kind of have a better life for themselves when they come back. But also too, they come back to this harsh reality that, you know, there's nothing here for them. There are no programs set in place to make sure that they succeed. And so we see this with Ronnie's journey as he is basically trying to figure out where the heck he used to live, because he went to the war so young. So he's trying to figure out, where did he live? Like, where did he used to work? How does any of these things matter in the grand scheme of things while he's trying to apply for jobs, apply for the police academy? And we see that he had a medical discharge, but he tells the lady that, hey, this will not affect my opportunity to serve. He takes the police exam, but we see that he really, that he doesn't get in. And so in this moment of fate that happens as he's really trying to cope with what am I going to do, Ronnie feels as though that he turns to suicide. And so we see that he picks up his gun and he's ready to pull the trigger. But before he can do so, there is a ball that crashes through his window. And we see that he runs outside to chase these little kids. And we see that the kid who he catches is Jason. So his son that basically he helped raise, even though he wasn't Jason's biological father, but also too, he helped raise him. And so we see why he has such a strong connection to Jason, because without Jason realizing it, Jason helped save his life. He stopped him from committing suicide. And so it's such a powerful scene to see when you have that realization, like, oh my gosh, like there is even such a stronger and deeper connection on why he felt as though he had to do the things that he did. And I think also too, going into his character, kind of how we feel, and especially, I don't know, more so like in the African-American, the Black community, how we feel as though that we have to be strong. We have to be strong for our parents. We saw that Ronnie was kind of hiding all of these things that he was going through from his Ethel, his grandmother. And we see her bragging to her friends, like, he gonna buy us a house. He about to be in the police academy, you know, telling her all these things that he's trying to do. And she's really praising him. But inside, like after he finds out that he doesn't get into the academy, like he still shields that from his grandmother. And so I just thought that was another just interesting thing to watch, is how we always feel the need that we have to be so strong that we can't let people know what we're going through. And I think Ronnie's situation that he's having is also parallel to what we see Kevin going through. And so Kevin is Kevin, Papa, and Jake. they just touch my soul. They just make me so happy. So we kind of see that Kevin's mom is having this discussion with him and basically telling him, hey, you shot somebody, like you are going to therapy. And so Kevin continuously says throughout the entire episode when he's talking to his mom and he's talking to his sister that, hey, therapy is for white people. I ain't got time for this. And then his mom was just like, that is so ignorant. His sister even told him that it's ignorant to have this ideal that us as black people, that we do not need to talk our issues out, which is another huge taboo discussion. I'm really so happy that they decided to bring these topics to the forefront, because a lot of people in the black community, we don't go to therapy. We don't feel as though we need to talk to people about it. We do feel as though, or at least from my standpoint, that that's something that white people do, that we have to be strong. We go through these things and it's just something that happens to us and we have to deal with it and we have to keep moving forward. And so we're kind of given this like really strong scene towards the end of the episode when he has to sit and talk to his therapist, and he basically, when she asks him like, what do you want to do when you grow up? And then he basically corrects her and says, if I grow up. And I was just like, wow, like just to see Kevin and his interactions, like when he's with his friends, they're probably the most joyful part of the episodes, because just watching these kids kind of grow up, how they talk to each other, kind of the situations that they go through. But in the back of Kevin's mind, he is still dealing with the fact that for where he grows up, where he lives, that there is a strong possibility that he would not live to see another day, that he would not live to become an adult, to have a family of his own. And I just think that this episode does such a beautiful job of kind of giving us both the joyous parts in these people's lives, but also bringing us back to the harsh reality that they are still victim of their circumstances and the environment that they're living in. And I'm done preaching, y'all, okay? That was just a lot that was going on. We still got to talk about Miss Ethel. I'm going to save that for the end, but I feel like I'm getting too heavy. So let me go ahead and talk about my joyous part. The kids, okay? We see Maisha, who is Kevin's little bully, okay? We see Maisha, and so basically she killed her solar system project. I don't know what y'all talking about, but she was like, had everybody crunk. Going, hey, and I was like, girl, can you, like, where were you when I needed to do all of my childhood projects? So we see that she basically kills it. And so then Papa and Kevin, their teacher basically tells them, hey, you guys need to do your volcano thing next. And so basically they're trying to figure out how they're going to do this project. They've been procrastinating. And so basically they asked Maisha to do the project for her, that they'll pay her. And then she was like, I want you to go write down this list and go get all my stuff from the candy store. And she was naming all the good candies, the Boston baked beans, the Chico sticks. I was like, girl, you took me way back with all of that. So she gave them this long ass list of candy, and then she had the audacity at the end to be like, in a Fitbit. I was like, huh? How do you ask someone to get you all that candy and then you ask them for a Fitbit? And even they looked at her crazy too. But when she said, I'm trying to get my fitness together and don't be trying to talk to me once I get snatched, I said, yes, Maisha, I am here for this. But when she told Papa, like, that's a shame, how you big and you don't like big girls, how you trying to be picky, I was just like, this is why I love the kids so much. Even when Papa was just like, I done already committed 12 cents today, I don't want to commit another one. When we see that they basically come up with this idea to go steal a volcano out of the library. And so Papa is basically trying to get Jake and Kevin friends again. We see that Jake finally comes back to school. During the course of the first season, he didn't know if he was going to come back because he was kind of being thrown into that life with his brother Reggie. But because social services kept bugging them, he decides to come back to school. And then Papa has them fight everything out, and then everybody is friends again. I was just like, yeah, I better be lucky that y'all have a good friend like Papa, because I just love him so much. He's one of my favorite characters. I just love every single thing about him. I feel like I wrote down some crazy things that he was saying. Yes, when they were fighting, he told them like, hey, you know what? Stop all this beef. That's why New Edition broke up. And he was saying beef is bad for the skin. I was just like, Papa, thank you for giving me all of these gems, because that's what I'm here for. That's how this show gives me so much life. So going out and talking to the kids, we finally see that they do their whole volcano. Maisha tells them, hey, I still want my list, and I'm snitching because I know where you got that volcano from. So now they got to figure that out. But let's go to Emmett, okay? Because Emmett still ain't got his life together. I thought that he was going to get his life together, but clearly he hasn't. So we saw that his mom, Yolanda, told him, hey, I'm moving, taking a job in Seattle. But because they found out that she was stealing supplies to help Miss Ethel and Ronnie, she was fired. And so also she didn't get the job in Seattle. So she's basically been taking care of Miss Ethel, but she's also trying to show her son Emmett some tough love because he needs to get it together. And he still has not done that because we see that he is still not trying to get custody for his son. He hasn't worked out any type of litigation, hadn't even seen his son. And so we see that he's trying to go ask to see his son. He's going about it the wrong way, banging up on somebody's door like that. But she's not having anything to do with him because what he fails to tell us is that he called DCFS on her after the whole situation with her boyfriend. And so basically that's why she's not allowing Emmett to see their son. So we also see that Emmett is homeless at this point because his mom tells him, hey, I'm moving out into my own apartment and you can't come with me. And so Emmett, he trying to find places to stay. And then he go find Kevin's sister. And I'm just like, sir, are you serious? Like, you really think that she's finna let you stay? And then I thought she was about to break after she told him no. And she was like, wait. And I was like, girl, don't do it. You are better than this, okay? You are better than this. But then she threw in some protein bars and I was just like, you are so petty, but I was so here for that because he deserved it. Because she was like, you only call me when you trying to smash or you need something. You ain't even taking me out on a real date. And I was like, tell him all of this. Get him together. So we see that he walking around with these two sad trash bags, taking showers, taking a little whole bath in the little sink at the barbecue shop that he works at. Then he tries to get like freaky with these two girls and they were just like, boo boo, we don't take men home, okay? We just have fun here. So he's sleeping on the subway. Then he ends up getting knocked out because Tiffany's cousins basically is like, hey, if she loses that baby, it's your ass. And so Emmett basically goes back to his mother, tries to basically like guilt her into making her let him come and stay with her, but she holds strong. I was like, yes, Yolanda, stay strong because he needs some tough love. And then I think he goes to his dad's house. So I'm not sure. Y'all let me know. I think that's his dad's house that he went to, but I'm not quite sure, but we'll find out a little bit more next week. But what took me out was Miss Ethel, y'all. Y'all know I love Miss Ethel. She petty, she mean, she rude, but that's why I love her, okay? And so we kind of see that during Yolanda being there, someone comes and knocks on the door, and then she's basically notified that Miss Ethel was evicted, but Miss Ethel was like, I ain't going nowhere. This is the same house I done lived in for X amount of years. So no, I'm not going anywhere. I don't care who you sold it to. So we see towards the end of the episode, somebody knocks on the door. Miss Ethel opens the door, and then there's this guy. He looks like a really charming, nice young man saying that, hey, he's trying to do something for Veterans Affairs. He said he just came back, and he's trying to raise money to find a place to stay. And then so when she's going to like go get her purse to help him, this fool busts in, beats up Miss Ethel, trashes her house and everything. So I'm just like, I don't know if Miss Ethel alive, she dead, but he really like beat the mess out of her, and I really don't understand why. Does this have a connection to Ronnie? I don't know, but it broke my heart, y'all. It broke my damn heart. And so yeah, so that's how Lena, you crushed us in the beginning of the episode, and then you lighten it up a little bit, especially with the kids, and then you just took my soul right out of me, and then you ended with that scene of Kevin seeing if I grow up. I gotta process this. So those are my quick thoughts on season 2, episode 1, Eruptions of the Shy. As always, my name is Sharonda from Pay Your Weights, and if you like what you saw today, make sure you hit the like button, hit subscribe, share this video with your friends, and make sure you hit that notification bell, and I will see you soon.